And you look when Bob Jeffrey started racing, he wasn't anything special.
No, none of us have been.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Even the legends, Russell and Mark Howard, those guys were good drivers, but when you started to see them getting farther and farther back in the field and winning races. Number one, it's a great show for the fans. Number two, it's a little bit different what everybody else is doing. And number three, like you just said, it's going to teach you how to pass instead of get past.
That's one of the things like Kyle, and Corey, they got to where when we took our break from the track working there, they started helping the Kronks pit. They were their pit guys for a long time. And some of the things that Kyle learned from David is you can't pass somebody following them. So when you catch a car, you go to where they're not. And if you watch David, that's what he does. You watch Kyle, that's what he does. Guys that don't get to the front, they start following that car, and they're waiting for them to make a mistake. You can't count on them making a mistake. Mm-hmm. You've got to work on passing them.
Right.
And, Kyle's just one of them flukes that came out as a rookie and won races and won championship. It doesn't happen very often. It happens every now and then. But, he didn't have a lot of racing experience when he started in cars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and experience at Willamette is everything. I mean, how many times you see a new guy show up and win?
Right.
You just don't. You don't.
Not very often.
And with Claire's format, you weren't going to be that guy who's going to show up. Like, perfect example of that was when Reichenbach came up from California, and he told the local paper he's going to come out and show these guys how to get around. The big guy out of California, he's going to win. It was at the TNG Thriller, 67 laps. He started on the outside front row. Where did he finish? 7 laps down.
Oh, my God.
Well, how about the guy that drove for Bernhauser that Donofrio had? Donofrio brought him out and put him in his car, and he watered it up in the wall.
I remember that very well because that was Jim Bernheisel himself.
Yeah.
Him and I had some words not once but twice that night because the car he stuck in the wall with him was ours, the only other Ford in the field, and I was not happy with him. Now, we had a little conversation, and again...
Yeah, Willamette's tough.
One of those times, Claire had to come over and say, hey, listen, you better settle down right now if you don't want to get kicked out of here for 2 weeks.
I mean, how many people do you see come out of Willamette and go to other tracks and be fast?
Do awesome. Mm-hmm. That's what I was just going to say. I feel pretty lucky that I'm getting my first couple years of racing in at this track, that it's really good experience.
Madras was awesome.
Yeah.
Did you end up 7th at Madras?
5th, I think, or 6th. Yeah, something like that.
Right up towards the front.
It's really cool. It's crazy to go to other tracks and race like that and see the Willamette guys do awesome. Even the people that don't do very good at Willamette are doing awesome at other tracks.
Call from Curtis Towns.
Curtis Towns, how are you?
Not bad. How's it going?
We are doing well. We are, it's just about that time. I asked him to call in at 8:45 for the hot pit segment. I didn't even get a chance to introduce the segment, but we were talking about Claire and sharing, Claire's stories and memories. But I didn't even get a chance to play the opening segment. Should we do it?
Yeah, we have to.
Do it anyways, yeah.
Hold on one second, Curtis.
Stick around for a second, okay, buddy?
Thank you.
It's time for the High Octane Diecast Hot Pit segment. I totally messed it up talking about Claire and running over time. That is my fault. Here we go with the intro.
It's totally your fault.
It is my fault.
Does anybody else think this guy sounds like
He's blocking me!
How come we're not here?
Because it's going out. We're not plugged in.
Move the son of a...
Yeah, you damn right I got time out there. Oh, that stupid-ass flagman. They got a dumb-ass flagman that can't see. We sat there, the USAC officials yelled yellow. I sat there, and he shut the green light back off. He turned the green light back on, so I got in the tuck position. And he wants to just go back to the pit. Well, and he can kiss my and if I get the chance, he's going to.
Jackson, you all right there?
I'm all right. Car's tore up.
Kick ass tomorrow, man.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, let's go into the segment. Curtis, are you there, bud?
Yeah.
Now let me ask you: do you feel anything like that right there?
What's that?
Do you feel anything like that intro? I mean, give me your thoughts and feelings on what happened at the Modified Speed Week, and that was such a big. That was seriously a big deal.
Yeah, it was. I guess you guys probably have some questions about IMCA rules, huh?
We do, and that was, it was the confusion was how they're written, how they're enforced, as far as what warrants a warning, what warrants, DQ, and how your situation came about with the brake caliper. Can you give us a background on that?
Yeah, it's definitely some good racing. There's definitely a lot of competitors that come out for that race, and they've got an IMCA guy who comes from, wherever he comes back east or something, where he's sounds like the top dog in the national rankings for IMCA teching and stuff, so he knows what he's doing. But after tech, usually, I guess they tech top 5 guys after the A feature, and he techs something different every night, sounds like. And the night I finished 3rd there at Cottage Grove, he was teching the front calipers. They just had us remove the front wheels, and he checked your dimensions of the front calipers. They got to be OEM dimensions, is what it says in the rules. And my caliper pistons were an 1/8 inch too small. I guess the OEM dimensions have to be 2 3/8, and mine were 2 1/8. And I didn't buy stock calipers from like Napa or Connex or something like that. I bought aftermarket ones from ASCO, just from a local parts dealer, and not knowing any difference or nothing, put those on because the calipers themselves are OEM dimensions. But so I got DQ'd for that, and it is what it is. It definitely is pretty disappointing. I mean, when you get DQ'd from a race like that, it's real disappointing, that's for sure.
Well, I totally understand that, because when you go to a race part dealer to buy that part, expecting it to be legal, not having to worry about it, and then you get DQ'd for it, I mean, that's got to be. I would be.
Makes you wonder, what else on the car is illegal that I don't really know
Right.
about. The rules don't clarify what the caliper piston size had to be. It says OEM dimensions on the calipers, so the calipers were the right size. But AFCO makes 3 or 4 different piston sizes, so it's hard to get confused. I mean, there's several well-known drivers around this area that also didn't know the rules, so I mean, it's not a very common one. They should definitely state in the rules, quite a little better of what the dimensions should be, not just a general.
Go ahead.
I mean, rules are rules, and it just needs to be clarified a little more, I guess. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I've been running those calipers on my car for the last 2 or 3 years now, so it's been a while. So.
Well, now you're going to have to give all those winnings back.
It's not the local tech's fault. I mean, the local tech doesn't tech a whole lot, but, it's not their fault. It's my fault for putting those parts on the car and not knowing.
Well, and that was something we talked about earlier in the show, was local tech. If something like that is being teched, whether it's something you check once a year or once ever, at least you know the rule. And not knowing, I know you can't plead ignorance. It's just not an excuse. But what ultimately ended up happening was you got disqualified. You lost your points and your money for that night, correct?
Yeah, you get no money and no points for the night. Yep.
So on that rule for your calipers, what is the written rule on it as far as, so your OEM calipers have to match your OEM clip on the modified, correct?
Well, the rules just state OEM dimensions, so it's pretty broad, really.
But it doesn't give an actual piston size in that verbiage.
No, it doesn't give an actual measurement, so I don't know how a person's supposed to find out what a OEM dimension caliper piston measures, but people don't buy a used roller, and first thing they check is their caliper piston sizes. I don't think anybody does that.
Yeah, well, I'll agree. I mean, Tom, your thoughts on something like that?
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be checking it. But that's stuff that comes with experience. I mean, there'll probably be a few more top runners checking their brake calipers
I
now.
agree. Yeah, absolutely.
Unfortunate for Curtis, he's the one that gets to be the guinea pig to let everybody know that this ain't going to be good.
Yeah. So now going to a big race, what to expect and what they're going to look for. Did they tell you guys how they determine what they're going to look for on any given night?
Oh, no, you have no idea. I'm pretty sure, at least I don't ever know. I'm pretty sure they don't tell you till after the main event. That's when they tell you what they're going to check. And so it's a surprise to anybody on what they're going to check. You never know what it's going to be. And I think the local tracks should start checking more. Problems like this that could be solved earlier on instead of at these big races where it means more to get DQ'd.
Absolutely. I hear you on that loud and clear. So one of the things I was going to ask you before I totally forgot what I was going to say just now.
That ain't going to work.
Well, I'm looking at time here on the show, and I'm thinking about what was going on. But with Dave from IMCA. Now, this was I was going to ask you was, this is what I heard, and I don't want to say anything that's not true in the air, so I want you to say yay or nay. Was that they were teching the top 2 or 3 cars as they rolled off the track with pyrometers on the brake calipers? Was that something they did, and did they not say anything until after the main event to you?
Yeah, after I won both my heat races, and he was checking the front brakes, and he asked where I started in the first heat race, and I told him second row outside or something, and he said, "Where'd you start in the second heat race?" I said, "Third row inside or something." He's like, "Huh." And then, and he didn't say nothing else, so he checked both rotors to make sure they're equal heat or close. I'm not exactly sure what the rule is there, but he didn't say nothing, and he let me go. So I passed both heat race checks, and so I don't know if that time he was questioning something or not, but.
Wow, it's something that I have never heard of.
It shows that the brakes obviously were working and both close to temperature, so, I don't know what he was thinking or anything, but I passed both heat races, so there was no issues there.
And it sure would be nice to know what the heck he was thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's no avenue for appeal on this, right?
What's that?
There's no avenue for appeal. IMCA's word is IMCA's
it's a done
word.
Deal now. Did they?
Oh, right. Yeah, I tried talking to several people through IMCA and talked with Brett Root. He was nice about everything. Rules are rules. I don't know if he's agreeing that the piston rules should be clarified more in the rule book or not, but they're pretty stiff on their rules. They've been around it long enough where their rules are their rules. That's pretty much.
Did they check everybody's calipers that finished in the top 3 or 4 or whatever?
Did you hear that?
I believe that the top 5 all got checked for the same thing, I think.
Well, at least they checked everybody. So
well,
it's
that's
not like
good.
they singled you
Colin
out just
said.
off your heat race.
That's good. So, personally, how did you? What were your personal thoughts about that whole situation?
I know what mine are.
Well, yeah, it's definitely frustrating especially for something that you don't know that was illegal. That's
right.
The most frustrating part.
Absolutely.
Thinking your car's legal and you end up getting DQ'd for something, and so now people think you're a cheater when it's something that you didn't realize, and it's a pretty big ordeal, really. Losing. I think third place was $450. I missed out on that. Missed out on points. IMCA points things are so close these days that it more than likely cost me the championship at Cottage Grove because I had a pretty decent points lead, and now I don't. So it definitely screwed me in several ways, I guess.
Yeah. Well, sorry to hear about that, and we want to wish you the best of luck in 2017. We are up against the clock here on Northwest Dirt News, Curtis. We'll talk with you again later on in one of the other episodes coming up, but. I want to wish you the best of luck. Everybody knows, and we've even said it here on the show tonight, we know you're not a cheater. Anybody that knows you knows that, and you're not one of those guys that has to go out and take advantage of the rules and to beat people. You're a quality driver with a Class Act reputation, and we'll back you up 100% like that here at Northwest Dirt News, bud.
I appreciate that. It means a lot coming from you guys.
Well, keep doing what you're doing and keep winning races, and we'll catch up with you at a racetrack here pretty soon.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right, buddy.
Thanks,
Take care.
Curtis.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And like we
Stand
said,
up, dude. He really is. The last person in the world that would cheat.
Well, it just, especially on something like that. If you're going to cheat, go cheat, but don't.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. You don't think
almost-
about it. It looks like an OEM type caliper, and
Well, it sounds like his
finish
finished positions in the heat races determined whether or not they were going to tech him.
Right.
It's like, why would that matter? Why would you ask me where I finished in my heat and where did I start?
Right. I hate to end the show like that, on a note like that, having to rush a caller, but we've got about 35 seconds left. And
35 seconds.
It's been a great show, you guys. Thanks for tuning in here on Northwest Dirt News from the Jetstream Walk Massage sales floor, the actual store. Tom, thanks for being here tonight.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate
Tom.
having you on the show. We're going to step out of here. We've got about 15 seconds left. We'll catch up with you Saturday night at the Clare Cup at Willamette Speedway.
Be there.
Northwest Dirt News is a production of Moxie Media Promotions. Brought to you by our title sponsors, Crocker's Cars and Northwest Trucking Academy. In association with Jet Street.